Aloha guys, JRTV Hawaii, in search of a great marriage, new ideas, and ultimately easyworldpeace.com. Check it out. Yes, today I have this funny comparative. There are different creatures in the jungle. One of them is the ai creature, resident of New Zealand, and it goes crazy. It's a marsupial. It goes crazy at a certain time when different elements in play include its own biology, genetic or hormones, and some of them will try to, attempt to impregnate multiple partners or mates, and just this craziness. And some of them die from it, because of all of the hype. But what I will say is that what's most important is that we also consider there are certain ducks, like a mallard duck or certain other creatures that will pair bond for the duration of their lifetimes, and so what I'm saying is, if animals can do it, ants can cooperate. They can build these grand structures just like bees can. They're creatures that work together in harmony. Obviously, even our quote-unquote closest genetic ancestors, monkeys, do have these very dark behaviors associated with their communities and interactions with others. But we can learn from these different animals and create a fusion of these animals, just like we can create a fusion of cultures and different perspectives from around the world, and create a better human, a human that is doing what? They are connecting with more people. They are, interracial marriages are turning, or metamorphosizing into a more similar looking human creature, and then finding other ways to get common ground. But one of them is this idea of superseding the I, which is just restless and a desperate attempt, and we're considering what these ducks. If these ducks can do it, then so can we. We can have the courage and patience and discipline and strength to say no to certain things, certain people, and a recognition that's coming from suffering, that want to just get that gratification from sexual acts without any commitment associated. That is the same thing as using drugs, except that you could say it might even be worse, because it's using a human being like an object. And if you're doing that to somebody else, then you're doing it to yourself. If you're around these lower quality emotions and interactions, which are very objectifying, then it's not just you who's doing it for example, it's not just the guy who's doing it to the woman, but it's also the woman doing it to the guy. They're both taking each other's time, and they're both, what I want to say is, interfering with the process of the dreammate reunion. They're interfering with the potentials of them actually connecting with a dreammate. If they're both occupying one another's lives and not instead preparing for their dream, and if they're pursuing these lusts, that means they don't really have any dreams, and they may not have any certain values, what they want in life. They may not know themselves. So it's an event that is devoid of commitment, and commitment is what makes us human, soul, and it's not blind commitment, but it's scientific and prepared, planned, and under the self-discovery, and it doesn't require experiences of, sexual experimentation. Uh, it requires us to look at people who have already experimented and documented and been their views being considered and analyzed by experts, and allowing us to benefit from the suffering of others. The proposition that we need to experience these sexual, premarital experiences. It's like saying that we need to take hard drugs in order to know it's something that's not good for you. No, sex is like a strong drug. You don't want to mess with it. It's the stuff that hurts people emotionally, perhaps even physically. The reason that somebody might take their own life or take somebody else's life, if there's some cheating, and it's kind of like this. I'm going to conclude with this. When you think you're hanging out with people and they may not be the best influence, but they seem like they're okay because they're just joking around and they're not really making you do anything bad. What they're actually doing is they're using up your time, or you're allowing them to use up their time. More responsibly said, you're allowing them to use up their time, your time, the time that you need to intention. What if you're in a group with a group of people who are intentional and bold? What's going to happen then? Or even if you're just with yourself and you're consciously trying to do positive habits. I mean, staying neutral is not okay. So yeah, thank you for hearing me out, and I'll include a link to this guy who actually talks some similar ideas as me. It's the first person I've found on YouTube that I can say is probably have a lot of some mutual understanding. But yeah, check him out, and thank you guys.